Hello and welcome to the show. This is the Sales for the Nigerian Business Person podcast. Before we begin, apologies because this is going to be a very noisy episode. That's because, Christmas is around the corner, so the fam is getting ready, and wifey and mom are out buying some stuff, and I'm behind podcast episodes by I think maybe about 3 or 4 days. So I figured let me just whip the phone out and then get a recording going. So the noise that you can hear in the background, those are my kids, little munchkins. All right, now, okay, so on with the show. Let's see. Okay, so today what I want to tackle on the show is this. We're going to look at why formalized networking is a good idea. Now, recently there was a British Council event where I provided photography coverage. So for those of you who've been listening for a while, you know that I started off as an event photographer, and I don't promote those services anymore because I have a team behind me, Ray, Amy Lord, and a couple of other folks who handle wedding photography quite exquisitely. So I just handle the customer facing aspects of the business, and then I refer things out to them. However, I do enjoy the corporate stuff because it's more, what's the word? It's more photojournalistic, and it has less of the hassles around retouching and all that. So I'm okay with doing that part of the. I'm okay with doing that part of photography by myself. So that's the reason why, from time to time, you hear me talk about events like this, stuff for the British Council, other NGOs, and some other corporate organizations. And anyway, so at the last British Council event, it was an Alumni UK networking event. Now, Alumni UK is an initiative of the UK government, and the aim is to connect everyone that has a history of education in the United Kingdom. So, the goal of the scheme is to enhance personal networks abroad and also in the home country. So, for those of us who finished, who had either undergraduate or postgraduate education in the UK, we get hooked up with other people in Nigeria and the other parts of the world who are members of the who are UK alumni in a sense. Now, this initiative makes very good business sense from a national perspective. That's when I say national perspective here, I mean the United Kingdom, because it's promoting the benefits of a UK education. And in fact, they have a goal of having 5,000 Nigerians educated in the UK by 2024. Now, this is good business sense because it provides good inflows for the UK educational system. Now, if you don't think that it's good, just think about this. I'm not sure how much the fees are now, but the last time I looked into it, I think for on the master's end, you needed about 7 grand to finish a master's program, and that was many years ago. So let's just assume that things haven't changed, and it's still going to be £7,000 per individual. So, and then take that £7,000 and then multiply that by 5,000, which is their goal for Nigeria alone. And then, of course, these programs are running in other parts of the world, China, Kenya, Uganda, I mean, you name. And the United Kingdom, the government has found a very good way of providing inflows for the UK educational system. So I think it's really good. Anyway, so this episode is not to promote the United Kingdom or the UK alumni program. But I'm just trying to show that even if you want to network and you want to limit it to formal networking type of events, these sorts of things are actually they actually are good and worthy endeavors. That's what I'm saying pretty much on this episode. Now, how is this sort of thing different from the informal networking that I speak about? Now, you will recall that when I talk about networking, I'm talking about situations where in normal daily up and downs, church, school, business transactions, things like that, you're running into other people, you have discussions with them, you get to know who they are, figure out what they're about, and then you can find, what's the word? You can find some symbiosis, some alignment between your business interests and theirs, and both of you can build careers and businesses together. Now, when it comes to formal networking sessions like this one, Okay, well, of course, it was organized by the British Council, and then there was a business panel, people sitting on stage, people sitting in the audience. It had organized icebreaker sessions where people had to go around at specific parts of the program, introduce yourself, check out somebody's name tag, ask them questions about where they're from, talk a little bit about yourself. There were cocktails, meals, and let's see what else. Then there was also a part of the program where you got to do business promotion spots from the stage. So if you were selected, you would get to go to stage and you get to talk about your business to the dozens of people who are there at the event. This is not a very large event, by the way. I would say at most maybe there were about 100 people. So it was a formal event, and from what you've heard, you can see that this is a very formal event, not the kind of thing that I talk about on the podcast normally, but still, it had the added advantage because you're getting to know people that have a similar background, and that commonality goes a long way. So, take for instance someone like me. Did my postgraduate in Scotland. You get to meet another person who finished from Scotland as well. You guys have common history, and then it just helps the commonality. If you guys happen to align on certain other areas, whether it's business, politics, or whatever. So you get to meet people of similar backgrounds, especially people who have had international education and work experience abroad. So it was a very, very good event, even though it was formal and not the kind of thing that I contemplate when I talk about networking most of the time. Now, some of the networking experience there was gamified because they had tasks for social media. You had to take photos, share photos and selfies, tag people on social media, follow them on LinkedIn, whatever. All that was mixed into part of the program, and I thought that was really genius of the organizers, because some of these formal events can become quite stilted and very stuffy, but they did a good job with the icebreaker sessions and the games and things like that. And you must admit that even if you're someone who has introverted tendencies, it actually is the kind of thing that you can get engaged in. Now, one of the reasons why I thought about making a podcast recording talking about the program was because there was a useful tip from the business panel. There was a business panel on Nigerian entrepreneurial development. And one of the speakers gave this tip that lots of people agreed with. And the tip was that you should send an SMS right after the event. And with that, you leave a small history on the person's phone. And that's a good excuse and also a past history that you can use to re-engage with someone later on in the future. The other members of the panel endorsed that, and it is something that I actively endorse as well. Especially since, for those of you who've been listening for a while, you guys know that I say networking is what takes place after the formalized event is over. So that's something that I actively endorsed. Now, so what are the options available for UK educated folks or people who have work experience abroad or in the diaspora? There are other opportunities available for you guys. So if you're a UK alumni, you can just Google Alumni UK. That's the name of the program. Register at the portal, and then opportunities and events are going to be promoted to you through your email address. And then you personally can also take advantage of school alumni initiatives, like I've mentioned on the podcast in the past, that I'm a member of I've registered for the University of Aberdeen Mentoring Scheme. That's my alma mater. And through that, I've met and mentored undergraduate and postgraduate individuals from different countries, and I am broadening my network base, not just international, but across different business interests as well. Now, for those of you who finish from local universities, you're not part of that UK, Canada, America, whatever crowd, that's not a problem. So let's say if you finish from OAU, that's not a problem. Okay, well, actually, that might be a problem because OAU at the moment, that's my first, where I finished my undergraduate studies. That's Obafemi Awolowo University, the greatest university in Western Africa. So OAU, not just OAU, other federal universities at the moment seem to be much more preoccupied with fiscal survival. There's all these things about, lecturers going on strike. They're worried about budgetary allocations, those sorts of things. So federal universities are trying to survive, and they are not preoccupied with fancy alumni initiatives. Somehow, our schools, Obafemi Awolowo University, University of Lagos, Ahmadu Bello Zaria, what else? all those schools, University of Ibadan, they haven't made the link between having vibrant alumni networks and university funding. So that's one of the things that the UK government has been able to make the connection about. They realize that if you have vibrant alumni networks, those are people that you can approach to time and time again for funding. For funding. Oh, sorry about that. I thought my attention was needed back in the car. Okay, yeah. So um, bottom line, Nigerian universities, if you're an administrator of Nigerian universities and you're listening to this podcast, there is a link. So think about it. You guys can harness alumni networks that you guys already have. I mean, when I was in OAU, we were 22,000 strong. So, I mean, between then and now, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to say that OAU has graduated another 22,000 students. So think about that. Strong alumni base. Assume that a quarter of people have jobs and maybe a tenth of those people become influential. If you're able to build alumni networks around that, we can provide alternative funding for our schools. So private universities, administrators of private universities, start paying attention to these opportunities because it's another way of providing benefits to education. So people are not just going there to get a degree, but they're going to have access to personal networks and professional networks. In fact, I suspect that that's one of the reasons why Nigerians go to Harvard. I don't think it's just because of a world-class education, but they're thinking about being part of the Harvard crowd. So anyway, back to networking. So my personal tips. You go for any of these sessions, formal or informal, send an SMS or a call right after the event. And remember that networking is about the other individual. The goal when networking is to figure out who is in the room and who is worth spending time with later. So don't go around the hall boasting about your achievements. You already know how great you are. Take the time to figure out which other great guy or which other great girl is in the room and who will be worth building a relationship with. If you do that, then you're going to be fine networking either formally or informally. So that's all for today, folks. So remember to connect with me on WhatsApp or Telegram. You can hit me up on 080 6466 2140. The country code is +234. Also connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Tavishima Ayede. Don't worry about the spelling. You can confirm that after you're done listening to the episode. You confirm the spelling, the email address on the website where you're listening to this podcast. You get all my details there. And then also in the profile of the podcast app where you're currently listening to my voice. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode. And hopefully the next episode is going to be a much more quieter affair.